In this module, I will teach you to understand the main concept and objective of using a 3-star formation. The 3-star formation begins with black taking 2 corners and then taking the 3rd star point on the side of the board. It can be any side, this side or this side, doesn't matter. And your plan for the 3-star formation doesn't affect what your opponents play. Your opponents can play 2 star points, your opponents can play a 3-4, your opponents can play a 5-3, your opponents can play a 3-3. It doesn't affect your 3-star formation. Your 3-star formation, it is just one plan. Control the right side of the board and use influence to control the game. If your opponent, let's say, takes a side of the board, you go ahead and take the other side. If they build on the other side, so if your opponents take 2 sides of the board, you just take the middle point. This is the beginning of a 3-star formation. Same goes for white securing their corner. If they secure the corner, now you gotta choose the right direction. In this position, choosing this extension on the bottom side is much more effective than choosing the extension on the top side. The reason is direction of play. This white stone and this black stone, the gap is already smaller. Whereas this white stone and this black stone, the gap is larger, there's more space. So playing a place where there's more space will give you a better spatial and territorial advantage. So in this position, playing the extension on the bottom side is the right direction of play. If white once again encloses the corner, for example going here, large knights move, or even the ultra large knights move, trying to enter into your side territory, you can keep ignoring white. You just keep building towards the center. So obviously there are many other ways you can play. For example, playing the knights move enclosure, approaching like this, attacking like this. But in this course, we are going to look at like the essence of the 3-star formation. So the last lesson we looked at when black has the extension and white approaches, the ideas and the ways black can use to face against the approach. But today we'll have a look at the ideas you can use when the sides are open. This generally happens in an actual game. In a normal game, it's also very likely white might not play elsewhere and white doesn't want to give you like all this side territory. So white approaches the corner straight away. Over here, there is a few things. Number one, the first and foremost, most easy, simple joseki is using the kick and 1-space jump and place somewhere else. For example, extending on the side or approaching white's corner. Anything you do in this position is fine, but for the sake of a 3-star formation course, after white extends 3 spaces and plays the normal joseki, you can choose to extend on the side of the board. Let's say white encloses this corner over here or over here, doesn't really matter. If in the future, black wants to build a moyo toward the center of the board, black can use a shoulder hit. This shoulder hit, 99% of the time, white will answer with a block. Otherwise, if white push up, black can jump out towards the center, and white still needs a move to go back to secure his base. Black has the other side extended, and black's stones are all on the force line and above, so the influence toward the center is gigantic. It's a lot of potential and a lot of moyo potential in the center. Now here comes a little bit tricky one. White can also use this peep. With this peep, here becomes very interesting. This peep basically says, if black connects, white will enter your corner and white goes over here. Now with this exchange, black's shoulder hit doesn't work as effective. Simply because white can now push, white Atari, black has to connect, and white can use 2 Ataris and push out towards the center. So black's influence towards the center of the board is actually diminished and actually reduced by a lot. Therefore, when white uses this peep, black should not play the 3-3 and instead black play elsewhere. So you can think of it like this. White play the normal joseki, black play elsewhere, and then white play this peep. Will you connect over here? Obviously the answer is no. You'll very likely push up and build towards this side of the board. You will not connect like this. So therefore, this is the idea when white uses peep. When white uses peep, black can connect, and after white plays this knight slide into black's corner, black here tenuki. Play elsewhere tenuki. You want to make sure that this exchange from white damages white and gives you the sickness and the strength so that you don't need to answer the 3-3 anymore. and they have discovered that once you use this move, it balances the territorial development as well as the influence. And that move, ladies and gentlemen, it is a 7-7 point. The 7-7 point, it looks very strange. I completely get it. It looks like a move not on the side and not in the center, but on the 7-7. Now, what is the idea of this move? Here is a cool and wild idea behind this move. After black plays a 7-7, this entire territory on the right side is almost secured. So let's say white invades into black's territory. Black can use a kick to not let white take any eye space, and over here from this position, black has a few ways to handle these two white stones. If you want to play safely, you can use a diagonal move, and this diagonal move is actually perfectly placed to stop white from going into the center. After black uses this diagonal move, white has to try and live in black's area. Another move black can play is black can use a one space jump. Now with this one space jump, black completely takes away white's eye space, and it gives white a very difficult time at running away and making life. If white tries to run away, black can block. If white tries to escape, black can use a one space jump, and it's very hard for white to run away. White can try to forcefully make some eyes in this shape. For example, pushing out over here, push, wedge, connect, black has to block. Now white can use a hane, atari, tiger's mouth trying to enter black's territory. Black has to block, and white can use a knight's move. If black blocks, white can go up, black blocks, and then white can connect. And after this situation, white is actually alive. But even though white does live in black's territory, black has gained a very big and significant influence towards the center of the board. Now black can try to approach white's corner and invade white's territory. So when you have an invasion, first of all you ask yourself, which part of the territory do you want to defend first? And in this kind of position, where it's right at the opening, either side is up to you. So defending the top side or defending the bottom side, both of them are equal. They are the same results. Let's look at how black should defend from this position. If black simply use an extension and extend his stones out, then it gives white a very easy way to make life and make territory on the side of the board. And white has just taken away black's space. After white attaches, black always should use a hane, a bending move. Now the most common response for white is white will extend, and here instead of aggressively attacking these two white stones, first of all you always have to be aware of your own weaknesses. Right now there is a cutting point, and white can cut at this cutting point. After black extend, white will capture this stone in a ladder, and if white does end up with this position, this is not a favorable position for black, because with a 3-star formation, black's whole aim is to build influence and build a large framework. So if you get into this kind of position, white will be really happy, and black's 3-star formation has just been ruined. Let's look at another example. What if white uses a hane, a bend towards the center of the board? If white uses a bend, the first common instinct and the first want is black wants to cut. Black definitely wants to cut and try to capture this white stone, but here you have to be very, very careful. After white's descent, white does have a few ways to sacrifice these stones very effectively. For example, if black chooses to go here, that you have fallen into white's trap. White is going to atari on top first, and then atari, atari. After black captures, white will connect, and white has completely reduced black's influence. Now the influence and framework is white's potential. So white will develop influence and potential towards the center of the board. This stone is also weak, so black does need another move, and white can play elsewhere. White will not get attacked simply because, let's say black does try to attack white, white can always jump into the side of the board and go into black's territory to make some territory on the side of the board and make some eye space.